My name is Mark Gesner. I'm a faculty member here at Cardinal Stritch University, and we're going to talk a bit about how cultural heritage influences leadership style and values. And so, welcome actually two colleagues here who teach at Cardinal Stritch and have rich Native American traditions, and ask you both to introduce yourselves first, if you would.
Tina Koehn. I'm a member of the Menominee Tribe of Wisconsin.
And I'm Paul Trebian, and I'm a member of the Tlingit Tribe of Southeast Alaska.
So thank you both very much for doing this. And I think, Paul, if we can just start with you. We talked about maybe a story from your heritage that connects to leadership. If you could share that, we'll ask Tina, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
A story that comes to mind that leadership is taught at a very, very young age. And then when you get into your teen years, then you actually start to act on it and take care of elders and work with the tribe to, during the season of plenty, to gather resources for the winter. And that was back when we were fishing, out of canoes and whatnot, but now we turned it into commercials, fishing and other businesses. And so I was sent to Alaska during the summers to learn about the fishing and how to respect that chain of command, and I found out right away what it was all about, that it's a matrilineal society, that the elder women actually set the policy and procedures, even when it comes to actually finding out who are the groups that go out and gather, and then the males, senior elder males, would actually execute the policy. One would be a senior person that was a speaker of the tribe, and they would execute the policy and procedures. And some of it was really simple, just following who is your direct elder and helping them out as much as you can, thinking about others first. Thinking about the surroundings around you, the social responsibility to take care of the environment. You never do anything wasteful. You only take what you need. You give to those in need, because the culture up there was built around surviving together, the harsh conditions up there. And those conditions still exist today. And then we translated all of our ideas and values into resource management. So we retain mineral rights and resource rights, and our culture of social responsibility comes first, that we make sure that the environment is taken care of. Therefore, we take care of everybody in the environment first, and then we think about others who are in need, and any resources that produce plenty, have profits, we give that to the elders first, because they're our prized possession. They know everything and keep us from getting into trouble, and then we take care of the ill and those in need. So we take care of those around us, and it's not just our own. We view everybody as our brothers and sisters. So the leadership that occurs naturally flows from respect and ethics, hard work ethic. When the tide's in, you work. When the tide goes out, okay, we can stop working now. And so it's very cyclical, and that follows our society. In fact, sometimes we're on tide time, which means we might not be on time according to Western culture, but we always make sure that the work is done. So we learn at a very early age, and that just carries all the way through. So when the work's in front of you, you work, and then you relax later.
Thank you, Paul. We're going to come back and ask a couple of questions, but really appreciate you sharing the story and that heritage, and would ask that you take a turn.
There's a lot of similarities, I think, with Native Americans throughout the United States and Canada. There's a lot of rich values, I think, that are instilled in all of the tribes. My mother was born and raised on the Menominee Indian Reservation here in Wisconsin, and the Menominees are actually the only tribe that exists on its natural land. Been here for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. So very rich culture, very rich land. My mother was, she had to attend a boarding school when she was little. So as soon as she could reach the pump handle, she was taken away from her family and went to boarding school with Catholic nuns, and she was educated that way. But also educated in the traditional way when she went home, and the things that she learned from her mother and from the elders there. And she talked a lot about some of those teachings, and she was good at crafts, and she, was just made meticulous quality, beading, blankets, everything, and taught me a few things. And while she was teaching me, though, she taught me that everything has to have a mistake in it, and that no one is perfect. And so I never really understood it, and I kind of didn't like making mistakes in my stuff because, well, mistakes were kind of a natural for me, but to make another one or to have one there wasn't fun. But I didn't really understand it until way later, and to me it relates to just not being judgmental with people, that we are all related, and nobody is perfect. You're not better than anybody else, and as a leader, there's a place for everyone, and everyone needs to be respected in that realm. It's just one of the things that I remember of very many.
It's interesting to me, you both had some similar themes, like you were talking about the connection with elders, the responsibility for the collective and the larger community. How do you see that connecting in your day-to-day lives as you live here in Wisconsin and interact with other business leaders and community leaders? Do you see threads between that heritage and your day-to-day life?
Yes, I do. One of the things that really stands out is learning from the mistakes that you mentioned is very important. But when it comes to leadership, we view leadership like in the traditional style we were taught in education, which is that leaders have vision. They take people into the unknown. And then there are managers who manage the known. And so there's a difference between leaders and managers. And when you're young, you're taught how to manage, become a lead practitioner. And then once you move up in the ranks, you start thinking about the past, learning from the mistakes, and then having the vision to work forward to say, I see a better future. Now it's my job to convince the collective to move in this direction. Of course, we have to go to the elders, the women, and the Eagle House and the Raven House in my tribe, and then discuss it, and then they make policy based on it, and then we execute it. And if we make a mistake, we make another decision to fix that mistake. And so it's very fluid, but it's always with the notion that we're going to help others first, and then we get through it. But leading people into the unknown is very scary, and the best way to get through it is together.
I think I do. I really value the unknown. I think mystery is everything. And I always had kind of wondered about other people who really wanted to know the end result. And growing up when I was younger, I could see that I was always rushing, and my mom said, "Slow down, slow down. You have to embrace things. You have to respect, what you're learning every day. Slow down." And as I got older, now I come back and think that, there's mystery. It's okay to make mistakes. And
one of the ways to comfort people is to look at the art, and you look back. I remember my grandmother telling me the best directional pointer for a leader is to know where you came from. It sets a point from the past to the present, and it creates an arrow, connect those two lines, and it gives you a direction where you're going. So you see where you're at right now, you look past where you're going, where you were, and now you have an idea of where you're going to be going. And it's up to the leader to figure out who of the best practitioners can execute the next few steps forward. And so it's very conceptual, but at the same time it's just a natural thing. We just do it. So.
I remember talking with the elders. We were gathering just to have a discussion. My mother was with her friends. They were from different tribes, as far as Lakota, Sioux, to some of the bands here, Chippewa. one night, another Menominee elder, but they were just kind of talking about spirituality and religion because some of them went to the church I do, which is a Native American Catholic church, and one of them didn't go to church, but he was very religious and very spiritual, and people thought that Native Americans were pagans and they really didn't have any beliefs, but in fact religion is their life and it's the foundation of their values, which I think are so strong. And so the big value, the value set of serving others, we know from being little, it's like instilled in us. You know, you serve your elders, you serve your family, you take care of your community. And I think nowadays when we talk about service, you know, it comes pretty natural. And we're big caretakers. And I asked one of the elder gentlemen, you know, what do you do at some of these ceremonies? And he said, we pray. We pray. And I said, well, what do you pray for? And he said, we pray for others. And it's always about others.
Yeah, it's always about others. I remember my grandmother talking about the great creator, and that you strive to understand the great creator, and then that gives you some absolutes to step out from, and those absolutes lead to morals, and then the morals lead to values, and then the values actually give you your ethical actions. So when you see work in front of you and it's going to help somebody else, you don't even question it, you just do it. So you help others, and if you do some work, you see some work in front of you and you can tell that it might harm somebody, then you hesitate and you ask the elders, how do we accomplish this without hurting? And then, you know, so that the ethics are rooted deeply into the morals and the absolutes that we learn from being religious. And I remember when the missionaries came and they were asking us about our regalia and our carvings, and they were asking, do we worship? And I said, no, this is to honor our mothers and our fathers. And then, oh, that's biblical. And we went, oh, biblical? Okay, it's biblical. That's what we said, you know. So the values are so close. In fact, when I teach here at Cardinal Stritch, the values here, the Franciscan values, are such a match to what the Clinkets do. It's a natural fit for us to teach here.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for that segue. I think for the purposes of this video, you know, we wanted to just begin the conversation, which is, there's clearly a lot more to talk about, but I love the notion of thinking the alignment of values that you've talked about, and also what you said with someone who I respect, an elder in my life who I respect a great deal, has always said, you need to go slow to go fast. And just the way that I think you both carry yourself, well, it comes through, and that's part of what we're hoping to achieve with this video. So I want to just mention, well, say my thanks to both of you, and also point out that you're both faculty here at Cardinal Stritch. Both have earned your doctorate degrees, and while we've introduced you in your regalia, and with Tina and Paul, I thank you, Dr. Trebian and Dr. Koehn. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.